As long as I'm here, as long as you love me, give me that old school love right now. As long as I'm here, as long as you love me, give me that old school love right now. Whoa. Give me that.
All right, what's up, lovers and friends? It's your boy Trigger Troy, and welcome back to Love Journal, my podcast about love, healing, and relearning. I was recently telling somebody that the show has been kind of like therapy for me. I just get to be vulnerable, and while I'm an open and expressive person, I'm rarely vulnerable with people. I know that's kind of a contradiction, maybe, but this show allows me the space to do that. So hopefully it feels like that for you guys too, and my guests that come on as well, or at least like a release. Now today, I was thinking about the idea of old school love. Like, there's the whole talk about wanting love like the old days, or wanting what our grandparents had, and how dating now is harder. And while I get that, it almost feels dismissive, like romanticized in a way. Yes, there were couples who had real genuine love, but the reality is it was hard back then too. And so many people dealt with so much. I do have to say, I do feel more so that it was more women, but no matter the gender, either way, not everyone was happy. Um, I think there was more of a sake of staying together for the sake of staying together back then. And so many people lost themselves in relationships that they didn't know how else to be and just settle. It's like, okay, I get we may be the microwave generation, but the generations before us were the oven generations. And while ovens have benefits, it still takes care and attention, and you can burn shit. And that's what a lot of relationships were. Burnt ass food that people still sat down to eat at dinner. Fucked up analogy, I know, but it's true. I just think about how people try to push the idea that things are worse now and realize they were, looking through the nostalgia lens. But then again, our generation does end things pretty quick. But it's just like shit like common that was commonplace back then, like a mistress. There's literally a whole term that was just like a normal thing. And it just all got me to thinking about whether or not our parents, grandparents, great grandparents, if their generations dealt with too much, or if our generations don't deal with enough for love. With that, I want to take a moment away from the social media corner. Week 2, I'll get back to it next week. But this week I want to skip it, and I want to just dive into my guest for today. My favorite cousin, one of my best friends, my motherfucking Mookie, Miss Francine Archer herself, aka Roxy Marie, aka Franchella.
Hello.
Hi, love. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's 90 degrees outside, and I didn't melt today, so.
That's good, and it's like 16 degrees right now inside of our basement. So, it's a good little balance. It's starting to feel like Arizona outside, which is tripping me the fuck out. But either that or I'm just getting used to the weather. I don't know.
Welcome home.
So I want to say I chose you for this episode because, one, we, talk a lot, like pretty much almost as often as we can. Sometimes every day, sometimes once a week, But just, again, as often as we can. And we've shared a lot of our own experiences. And I feel like we both have a good understanding on both our parents, our grandparents, and ourselves. And in a sense of like all the issues and things that we've been through when it comes to like love and relationships and things like that. We've seen things with our parents and grandparents, and we've been through things ourselves. So I think with that, we have enough knowledge at least to talk about it, and then this episode specifically, the question is, did our parents or our grandparents deal with more, or are we just impatient as a generation? I mean, that's just kind of like the gist, but ultimately it's just in relation to like, people when they talk about like wishing relationships were like how they used to be, it's almost, I feel like, a blind spot. You know, like people forget about the days when niggas had mistresses. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yeah, your grandpa came home from work, but like if he was gone for like 3 hours, you know he was down the street with Miss Johnson. Like,
I think honestly, that's true.
And it was just like almost like
that my grandfather had an old lady around the corner.
yeah. And that's how that shit used to be. They'd be like right around the corner, or like it'll be a bitch down the street.
But it's sad because my grandma buried 4 children with this man, so it's like, that's weird. Like, if you weren't ready for this marriage, or if you weren't happy, like, why just nip the shit in the bud and continue on happily?
And so, I mean,
with peace?
and that's part, because I think back then it was for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of, like I said, what people look at now as like staples of relationships that in reality, and I'm pretty sure there were good relationships. I'm pretty sure that wasn't all the case, because sometimes another thought that I had was just like, sometimes it was also situations where people just stuck around where it was things that they knew that they didn't like about the person and just dealt with it anyway. It's like so much of that I feel like was prevalent and people just stuck it out, and it's like now we have more of a say in that.
And this is why I honestly think that we're not asking for too much, because look where history lies itself. Like, pay attention. Now we have, no offense, women acting like men, thinking like men, because it's a repetitive cycle of how one is being treated because of how they're being taught.
Unfortunately, they don't really have a choice. I've seen it at times. I can definitely understand that.
That is true.
So like my first actual question then is, do you believe our parents and even grandparents went through too much for the sake of love?
Yes. Because it's been a generation of also teaching the wrong stuff. Also because I feel like we are not asking for too much, because back then certain things were forced.
Oh, I mean, so much.
Marriage
so
is
much.
definitely for
people
how?
like to say that now times are worse, but no, I'm agreeing. I'm saying, yeah, people like to think that I think dating has always been difficult. It's just different times, but I don't agree when people say it's worse now, because again, like we're saying, you know, people were so much, it was just expected. Like just another like you know, fucked up thing, like abuse. Like as far back as, you know what I'm saying, our grandparents and great grandparents, that was kind of commonplace.
And that's where all dwindled down to mental
like,
health too. That played a huge part.
And then it's like, so with my second question, do you think our generation gives in too quickly? Because I mean, you
like,
do have to think
to love too quickly, or
I mean, like, okay, so this and it's hard because I think every situation is gray, but so no, so I mean, like, not sticking it out long enough. I mean, not no relationship I don't think would be perfect, right? But there will be issues sometimes, and I think with our generation being the quote-unquote microwave generation, a lot of times we do want things fast, we do want things quick, we do want things easy, and we don't take into account the preparation and the process.
Right.
And when it comes to love, it's like, to get to that holy place, like a lot of relationships that I know of that I do admire, when I think about where they are now and where they started, it was a journey. And the shit took steps, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think our generation now,
because I actually was in a 9-10-year relationship, and it was definitely some hills.
I mean, I'm kind of sort of in a situation that you know about that kind of even sparked the interest in me to even want to do this in the first place.
Even every time I thought it was wrong, I still was like, why not? Keep going. You know, it's something lighthearted. But in reality, now that I am single for 3 or 4 years, it's been like Jesus, you let this one? Just, child, you accepted way too much. And this is why I always go, this is why I agree with the whole, no, we are not asking for too much.
So, I mean, so with that, because I mean, like I said, now I think the thing is with our generation, it's like, because it always needs to be a balance. I think the issue with our generation is a lot of fear, with knowing how much stuff now, because, you know, a lot of that stuff came out in more recent years or so, of how much mental strain and spiritual strain a lot of those relationships that our parents, grandparents, and all those like force themselves through until you look at they're like 60 and they just like fuck it, this is just my life, or like 75-year-olds getting divorced and shit like I can't do it no more, like it's like so like I think we know so much of that now that there's a fear of going through that. There is a fear of being just taken advantage of, just ultimately, and just being in the wrong situation, I think. And so with that, I think people now in a relationship, the first sight of like an issue or or something, we're pretty much ready to go. And I mean every situation is gray. So I mean if a nigga just slap you up, bitch, okay, yeah, maybe it's time to go. But if you didn't like how he was eating today, is that worth? It's like, ooh.
Wait, what you mean?
Like what you mean? I don't know. He was chilling with his mouth open today or something. Like, how you? Okay, so like for example,
like
how Marquise should be like. No, okay,
nibbling, just. What are you doing? You better suck that shit dry. What's wrong with you?
Oh my God, I am not.
What do you mean? I'm just trying to understand.
I mean, I guess you can say it like that, but the point is
he
something you
bit
don't
a
like.
lip. I don't like that. Oh, I'm done with him. It's over with.
I mean, but yes, though. But yes.
No.
But
okay.
yes.
No. I've
because
never
again,
seen
even so, I didn't even mean it in that situation. But I mean, like even in that context,
the woman gotta be ultimately disgusted with a nigga to do some shit like that. Let's be real. She got a ultimate, just like a man.
It don't even have to be a woman because I'm about to say
this bitch don't gargle balls. I'm done with this hoe.
I've had terrible head, and I was like, okay, I'm done. But not even just that. I mean, because that was like not a situation I wanted to be with that person, but it was someone that you like are genuinely dating. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, oh, they do this thing because sometimes people will have things that you don't like. I don't think anybody, but where back then I think it was an issue was that. If people knew it was something that they might possibly not fuck with along the line, they would still deal with it. Like, not thinking along the line. Because, sometimes that one day where you hated how he was smacking with his mouth open, eating food. and now you realize this is how he eat, and you've been sitting there watching this man eat for 20 years, and then one day your ass gonna snap on that motherfucker.
That's some shit a pregnant woman would genuinely get disgusted on.
Let's not act like Markeisha, our whole ass cousin, doesn't throw shit at motherfuckers if they eat with their mouth open out of nowhere. I got hit in the head one time.
Bitch got the audacity to put hot sauce with her eggs. Fuck out of here.
Anyway,
you can't trust them. You can't trust her. To the left. Okay.
Any fucking way. So I mean,
she got mad when niggas chew ice too. So I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah, she smacked the shit out of me one time, and I was out of nowhere, and I looked up, and I was like, bitch, what the fuck is your problem? Like you smacking on that fucking ice like that.
Pot calling a kettle black. This bitch stuffed water in her cheeks. I'm not trying to hear it.
I can't.
But anyway,
love you, girl. Love you. Just in case you hear it. No, but. So I mean, so next question, in respect to not betraying yourself, which is what I think it comes down to, that thin line, because we should, be upfront, and we shouldn't go so quick. I think, I guess, where is that line between deciding to leave and being like, if it's not like, because again. Obviously, if it's something super fucking intense, he whoop your ass, he's stealing your money, he punch your grandma, bitch. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If a man or woman is doing...
What the granny got
That's
to
the
do?
first thing that came out of my mouth.
Push the granny down the stairs.
Like scary movie?
Claim.
Like scary movie, grandma.
Hi, baby.
But no, how do you know? You know what I'm saying? I guess... I think you might have to just genuinely decide on your own. I don't think that's not even a basic answer because only you know what you can deal with.
Right. That's true. I mean, even the people that tell you that, you need to let that go and be done with it, you will still go, no, but I still love him, but why? You think it's the best idea, and if the pros outweigh the cons, then maybe you need to actually still work on your situation. I think that's one thing that can help a person. I mean, when it comes to really making that decision. but you also gotta play smart in them. You gotta also play like a genius in this.
Yeah.
Think of all the times where you've been sad in a relationship rather than being happy. And if that outweighs and makes your heart heavy, then you know what you need to do. Because ain't no way in hell this person about to bash me, keep doing disrespectful shit to me, keep reminding me that we not in no situation.
Or not supporting
and
me. You know, it's like
not
all kind of
supporting
shit I
me,
heard of
doing
going back
multiple
then.
things
That
to
was
make
just
me feel
normal.
like I am worthless, making me think bad things on myself that you inflict on me. It's so bad. Or even knowing the shit that I genuinely am going through and you use them as a joke. Like, that's a problem. That'll make me slash tires. At this point, I'm going to jail today.
Right.
And I do not care. And that's where you should really realize, is this person really worth me destroying my own peace that I created and built up for so much?
That's the biggest difference, I think, now.
Yeah.
And between our generation and the previous ones, that we give
desire
a fuck about
love.
our peace.
We desire love.
Not
way
even
too much.
that. We give a fuck about our peace. They didn't like we want to have, like I've been like having conversations with my mom about certain things where, like, you know, like, you remember Auntie Rochelle, rest in peace, amazing woman. My mom, you know, like, just one of the most just giving, just here, just take, you know, and it's like you see what that does to people who are just constantly just giving out. You know what I'm saying? My mom is like that.
Being drained dry.
Yeah, and they get drained, and it's like, I don't mind. I'm super giving, and I'll give. You know what I'm saying? But I constantly have to make sure that my cup is filled before I can do that. So that way, once I give, my shit will be overflowing. Because if I'm giving from an empty cup, y'all ain't getting shit, y'all. Yeah. And then it's doing a disservice to y'all because y'all not even getting the best of me. So, I think that's just really what the issue was back then. That they didn't. It was selfish, especially for black people. It was selfish to care about ourselves. It was selfish to be like, oh, I don't like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying, like men, like, even with men sometimes, some men, and it's you know, something, you know, I don't know how to specifically like say how to feel about this, but like,
not be mean. Like,
well, no, I'm not even gonna say about
sorry.
that. But just like for example, emotions, you know what I'm saying, expression.
To not be sad or not show it.
Yeah, because I've even seen women
as an outlet. Like, what?
I've even seen women treat boys like that. You know, like, what you crying for? You a boy, man up. Boys don't cry. I literally heard this the other day in a store. Like, boys don't cry.
Taught them on top of their mother, on top of the other mother, grandmother. After that, this been a repetitive taught. It's a taught situation here.
Yeah, and so
that's all it's been.
And then it's just like you know, with our generation, we're just like trying to not do that. We're trying to break
be a little bit
so
more conscious. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm hot 30 and I'm still not trying to be nobody's baby mama. Love to have a kid. And if it don't work out with the man, then hell, me and you can work something out, but we not going to take whatever happened between me and you on this creation. Because I'm happy I had it. You should be too.
Right. There was so much of this need to just deal for the sake of saying, I have a woman at home, I have a husband at home, I have a wife at home, that do whatever the fuck you want to do to me back then. And it's not, again, like, just to wrap it back up, it's not to say that, you know what I'm saying, all of our grandparents were sad and you know what I'm saying, repressing themselves or being abused or being treated wrong or just, you know what I'm saying, settling. But to be honest, a nice amount were. Like, I would imagine so. So, I mean, with that, do you agree with the quote that being in love in this generation is terrifying, loyalty is rare, and people are quick to choose a good time over a good thing?
I agree.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just terrifying for this generation. I think it has always been terrifying. But what makes it different is oftentimes we meet people online, and I think it's so prevalent that people can genuinely be a whole other person. People have the ability, and even if they match, you know what I'm saying, the profile that you see, motherfuckers be having whole ass having other profiles and like be having a married profile page, and they're like,
it'd be such and such. And such and such, it did it to be a whole hot dad bod.
Right, and then you see they fucking the other page with their wife and shit. Like, it's wild. Or like with their husbands and like, and then there's prevalent in the gay community too. So I don't think it's this generation that is specifically terrifying for. I think it always has been, but I think now, because we are looking for our peace, we are more willing to hook up. and have the good time thing. Because I won't lie, I don't mind having a bottle of wine, a little blood, a little head time, maybe make out or something, and we don't really even have to talk anymore.
Oh,
but I have to be honest because that's where I am right now, and it's because it's hard for me to genuinely get into people because I think people are boring. Also,
I'm different.
So
I'm different.
I mean,
I just feel like I really take. Don't get me wrong, I slip up every now and again, but I honestly take that whole sex and energy and soul.
Well, that's what I said. I don't fuck.
I'm a woman. That's the thing. I'm a woman. It's different. No offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I love you. You are who
I mean,
you
but
are.
like it's like hanging out, like just hanging out.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying?
I can't even hang out.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I mean, I can't do it as much anymore as I'm getting older. So I'm not just saying like I'm just out here hanging.
No,
but
at the roaring age of 30, certain things I just don't want to do anymore. I mean, I know I spent most of my 20s in a relationship, but that first year that was fun. Right. It's fun while it lasted, because then I realized it's not so fun after all. I don't want to be in the streets. Someone come pick me up. Please.
Okay, bitch, take me from the street to the
house. Come take me from
Matter of fact,
the streets.
I'm sorry, the loft, because I want a loft apartment, industrial, baby.
And anyway. I just want my first month to be spoil me, and then we can go down the lines of how you want me to treat
okay, that's another episode, though. First off, no, you didn't. But like, that's another episode.
My Instagram
but, like,
is Francella_Files. Files, like a nail file. Files. I just had to let that out there.
I mean, that's a whole other episode. But just like that, though, real quick, just to hop in on that, because you mentioned like the whole spoil me.
Oh, God.
I am so in a mixed place about that, because I never have been, and I don't necessarily want to be
spoiled.
I like to take care of, you know what I'm saying, my significant other, and I'll do stuff for them. But I think I wouldn't mind it. But like, it's not my goal. It's not. I guess that's my point. That's not my goal. But I'm at a place where I don't mind, because I used to be in a place where I wouldn't want a person to do stuff for me, and I wouldn't even talk to people who seem to be like, you know, like really balling, because I'm like, ooh, I don't know, like what's this gonna be like?
It's coming from a damaged woman, a woman who ain't really got. Look, the moment I even got something luxury, I didn't know how to act.
Oh, I know, but she called me.
I know. Like, I got a whole damn video. With me just with the box. Like, I just...
She said it's Gucci slippers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got the Gucci slip. She had the tip on through.
I can knock a nigga out with the boot. One
Dog.
shoe.
So...
Batter up.
Stop, motherfucker. Let's round it back out and get back to the initial topic, and we can save that's another episode.
Okay.
And I'll probably interview you for that one too. All right. So last question, and I think you might have kind of already answered it, honestly, but would you have any advice for somebody who wants longevity, you know, like the old days, quote unquote, but wants it to be genuine, like not, you know, betraying themselves, not forcing themselves or settling down or whatever the case is, but genuinely being in something that's real for the long haul? Like, I mean, obviously, we're probably the worst people to ask. We're both single as fuck.
You really won't know until you actually into it.
Into it, right?
That's not a direct answer.
Yeah.
You can't really say it until you actually go into it.
But I mean, I think...
and then that's when you can genuinely ask yourself, like, well, it's not that bad. Maybe I'm making it worse than what it is. It's not that bad. And that's where I think that question comes back to
the pros and cons.
Maybe we can be a little...
Yeah, quick to cut motherfucker off. Because I mean, I know I've done it a few times.
But you got to think too, we as women are also battered, and we have been through.
Well, I mean, it's not just y'all, because like as a gay man or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm bored. Like I really get bored with men. There's this one guy, right? For example, and I could tell he genuinely likes me, like really fucking likes me, but I get so bored because I can tell, and it might be different in person, but it's like I don't even get interested. Well, no, not even that, because I talk to different people, and if you're interesting enough, I will. You pop in my mind. I got 3 questions right now that I'm like trying to really get serious about. But anyway, like let's say, you know what I'm saying, he'll text me and say, "What you doing?" I would respond with, you know, just getting out of the shower. I'm about to roll up a blunt, lighting lighting the incense and about to find something funny are scary to watch.
Hint.
What about you?
Double hints. You went
Chilling.
detailed.
Because that's how I.
Detailed.
Because if I'm gonna text or talk to you, I'm going to give you details. I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna feed you conversation to feed into.
Those are
and
outlines.
the motherfucker will text me back and say chilling. Bitch, I just said all that, and so I won't respond because that just to me seems like you don't want to talk. You're not trying to keep my interest.
Like
You said chilling. You could have responded to the fact I just got out of the shower. Not to say that I wanted that, but you could have did that.
Okay, so
you could have responded to that and said
let's give another example. So I got a text just now. I said, "What up?" I said, "Hey there." He said, "What you into?" I said, "Doing a podcast with my cousin, because of course I am."
Hey.
He goes, "Oh, okay. I just got off work. Hit me up when you're done. Maybe we can go grab some food." See, that's more detailed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make that's something that you do as a man. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been wanting to hang out.
He didn't go dinner. He didn't go dinner. You want to come? No, I didn't do that. This is
dinner. You hungry?
No, at this point, no.
Send the dinner bell. Din din. Din din.
Do I look Asian to you?
Oh man.
What you know about Asian?
The fuck do you know about being Asian?
No copyright.
All right, man. I want to say thank you so much again, love, for doing this for me. I want to say thank you for your love, your honesty, your expression, your vulnerability, and most importantly, your fun. Again, love you. Thanks for doing it. And plug yourself really quick if you want to share your Instagram or just keep doing
Okay, well, if y'all didn't hear me the first time, the second time it is Francella _files, and it's a fine bitch on the picture. All right.
Okay, so like most things with love, this comes down to a few things. In the past, I think not enough people knew themselves outside of their relationships and dealt with too much. Our generation needs to work on balance and what to deal with. If it's just, little things that you don't like that could be worked on, or just like regular quirks about a person, unless it's driving you fucking mad, let it go. But if someone is genuinely hurting you, genuinely making you feel worthless or disrupting your peace, let them go. You have to live for yourself above all else. And I think a lot of people from our generation specifically are working on generational curses, and that means we can't pass down the pain of our ancestors in the previous generations. So we have to keep that the focus. So last, today's movie I want to leave you guys with is What's Love Got to Do with It? I think it's perfect, not only because that's like a family favorite of ours, both me and Francine, and just like all my cousins, like my mom, my cousins, like it's genuinely a family film. But I think it works with this topic so perfectly. And while it's not, as new in regards to our generation, we were children when it came out, and this film showcases a perfect example of generational pain. Tina Turner's mom was abused and she ran away, leaving Tina, and her grandma had to raise her, and that like made Tina feel, abandonment, and made her run to the arms of a man who abused her, and her mom wanted her to deal with it because she was being paid and given money. And it's like, well, would she, because like I thought recently, like, would she have stayed and not left Tina if the dad was rich while he was doing that? And a double whammy movie actually, for that exact reason, is Medea. God damn it, which one is it? It's not Diary of a Mad Black Woman, but it's the second one after that. But my mind just instantly went to the scene where the mom was just saying all the stuff that basically trying to tell the daughter to deal with the abuse again because he was rich. So not to get off topic, but again, it just sucks to think of that one person who has been through this pain, who, practically passed that pain down to you, trying to make you deal with it too, instead of trying to cut it off. It's like when it's time to let go, at the end of the day, don't let anybody tell you what to deal with, especially if it's making you feel anything else but great. So definitely check that movie out. If you haven't seen it, that's a fucking shame. because it's old. So you're trash. But thanks for joining me, guys. Check out my poetry book, The Boy Who Lucid Dreamed, on Amazon and Kindle. It's a love poetry book about desire and dreams. And the second part, The Boy Who Stood in the Rain, is going to be out in a few days. So you definitely want to stick around for that. And follow the official Instagram page, love_journal podcast. And again, thanks for listening. Love. Peace.
As long as I'm here, as long as you love me.